little bit about today. Why today, Freddie's birthday, how important birthdays were for him and how he celebrated birthdays. Then yesterday I said anybody could ask questions and the time disappeared. So if any of you have any questions that I haven't answered so far, I'll have 15-20 minutes to answer questions, okay? So you have 15 minutes to think of your question, and then I have to make a move because I've got a 12-hour journey ahead of me. So, but believe me, you make it all worthwhile. Okay, today, 75th birthday. People ask me, what would Freddie do today? I don't know. I know this will sound strange, but I don't know that he would be happy to be celebrating 75. Because, you know, he was always so full of life. He couldn't sit still for 10 minutes. There was always something he needed to do. And I know for a fact, as you get older, you can do, physically, you can do less. And I think he would have missed that quality of life. This is why, in my heart, I know he accepted his diagnosis because it meant there was no chance of him getting old. He would still be able to do everything he had always done. And for that, I think, is why he accepted things as they were. Birthdays were very important for Freddie. There always had to be birthday parties. What happened though, it was always the same people, the same guests, and usually we celebrated a party on each of the birthdays. So there was about 14 or 15 birthday parties every year. The only thing that was different was the cake. It was the one thing, because with all of Freddie's parties, if it was at home, the food was always exactly the same, because people liked that food. So why, spoil a good thing and have to create something new? But the only thing that was different every single time was the cake. And usually it was Freddie's idea, because it was for friends of his, so he knew what would fit. And it always had to be kept a secret from the person. They only saw and knew what it was at the party. The thing is, it also worked for Freddie. We came up with the idea, and it was the only time every year we were able to keep a secret from him. Otherwise, he would have got angry. How dare we know something and he didn't? We were actually able to surprise him so often. I'm sure you've seen pictures of Freddie looking at Garden Lodge as a cake. I've got one at home where it's, these porcelain Japanese dolls, the Hakata dolls. There's a cake styled like one of those. The last cake, the cake in 1991, actually has a lot of connection here, because what we did, for the last few years, they were all made by the same person. And now I want to use the name, it's totally gone out of my brain. Jane Asher, who used to go out with Paul McCartney years when I was young. she took up making cakes. So we asked if she would be able to make this cake that we had in mind. All we had to do was provide photographs, and she would do it. The cake itself stood about this high, and it was sort of this by this, because it was the apartment block of here, Les Tourelles, here in Montreux, and that was the last birthday cake he had. It was incredibly hard to do, because any of you who know baking, Freddie hated fruitcake, you know, which is normally used when you're sculpting a cake. He will only eat the sponge, the soft. And trying to create something this big in sponge, oof, but she did it. It was so, so, so beautiful. I think birthdays, they were important for him because he didn't need an excuse to have a party. That you have to realize. But birthdays made it special, it made it personal. There's another picture I'm sure you have seen where there's me carrying a cake and Freddie's looking at it, and it's the top of a mountain with snow on it and a ski lift, and that was, again, Freddie's idea, because this was a cake for Joe Finelli. He was going to be going on holiday to a ski resort, so this is Freddie says, get him to the ski resort early. Let's do something with this. He just liked using his brain. For someone that I never saw reading a book, in 12 years, I never saw him reading a book. Magazines, yeah. Architectural Digest, auction magazines, those sort of things, the catalogs, yeah. But he was so intelligent. I mean, that's why he always won at Scrabble. Well, okay, he did always win, but not necessarily because he put down the right words or anything. It's just, I've won. I'm going. But we're all allowed to do that sometime, aren't we? So, yeah, parties, birthdays, they were important for him. And I know that later on, for those of you that are here, there will be birthday cake, there will be wine, everything here for all of you. So do hang around and enjoy yourselves. There will of course be a lot more music, there will be things for every one of you. Questions? Anybody? Anybody? And if no, that's okay, I can go. Which was Freddie's favorite color? Can anybody tell me?
Yellow, yellow.
There you go. See, I can't answer the questions. You know the answers. Anyone? Anyone? Where? Okay. The very first time I actually saw Freddie was in 1973. I was having afternoon tea in the Rainbow Room in Biber. And all of a sudden, from where I was, all the heads turned to the entrance. And so automatically I look, and there stands this man with long hair, fox fur jacket, black fingernails on his left hand. I mean, Freddie stood out of the crowd even back then, before Queen were the Queen that we all know. There was just something about him that just attracted It attracted everybody's attention. As I say, everybody in the room, the heads just turned, and he was standing there with Mary, and they had come for afternoon tea. The first time I actually met him was in 1979. I was working for the Royal Ballet at the Royal Opera House, looking after costumes. The Royal Ballet were doing a massive charity show. They did one every year. And this year they wanted something different. I mean, they had the international ballet stars coming in, they had Margot Fonteyn, they had all the people, but they wanted something different. And because at that point, Freddie was performing with his ballet shoes and the bodysuits and everything. So they approached him and he said, yes, Royal Ballet. Because he really thought he could dance and he had balance and he could do things. So he did. He performed a crazy little thing called Love. It was the first public performance, and it was Bohemian Rhapsody. And that was amazing. And I actually saw him, met him afterwards. And I just said to him, look, I just have to say, but with your voice, Queen music, the Royal Ballet, it's just something made in heaven. And he was the most polite person you could ever wish to meet. I mean, so un-rock and roll like. And he was just made people feel at ease. And, you know, he, as I say, incredibly